That's good. Sorry, I'm just getting comfortable.
I am very privileged to have my next guest today. You will love her. Her name is Hinano Tanielu, and I love her quote. When you see me, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. A quote from Oprah, which she will explain. I will stand for and represent all those that are suffering silently. I will represent those that are here and those that have passed that needed a voice. I will stand and speak for the voiceless. Hinano is American Tahitian Hawaiian born, raised in Santa Ana, California, now residing in southern Utah. She is part CEO, and I can't wait to have her describe like how she even came to be part of ManuScript, love that name, ManuScript Films, a Polynesian American director, and the first Tahitian to release a feature film in America. She made her directorial debut with a feature film called Sosefina. She'll let you know where to find it, An Island Girl's Journey. Very touching, critically acclaimed as the first Polynesian American feature film. Your focus and passion are empowering Pacific Islanders, especially women and youth, bringing awareness to mental health, which I think is a huge, huge concern, I think globally, right? Speaking for the voiceless, storytelling and sharing indigenous American stories. Thank you so much, Hinano, for being here. How did this journey start?
So the film journey started because of a failed business that they had. It was a music company they had in Santa Ana. And when you do music, you have to depend on the artist to produce. And if not, then it's hard to have business and hard to have music and anything come out of that. And so with film, it's easier because you're doing everything yourself. So my team, they can write, we can produce, we can direct, we can do everything. So it was a little bit easier for them to transition into the film business. And yeah, my husband one day told everybody, after they closed down the studio, sat there and was like, well, what do you guys think about getting into film? And so that's when the film life was born into our lives.
Wow, just a random thought.
I think he's been thinking about it for a while because he's been a writer his whole life. With everything that we've been through, it's just, it's easy to write stories. I'm sorry, you could probably hear my kid screaming in the background. I can hear him. Oh my gosh. I'm
No,
sorry.
very, very faint, very faint. No, and I
Okay.
love that because how do you balance that out? Can you describe like family life? I mean, how did you balance?
Um, Patience. No, we have great support. My kids are all older, so I have 19, 17, a 15-year-old, and I have a 22-month-old baby. So I
22
have,
months old.
yeah. He's a bonus baby. That's what we call him. So he's not our blood baby, but we've had him for almost 2 years now. So yeah, he's our little blessing. But my kids help out a lot. They've always been there. They've always supported us, and whatever, anytime we had to go to meetings or interviews or anything that had to do with film or business, they always were supportive, and they either came with us or they stayed home and they watched the baby and my mom. So we also take care of my mom as well.
Wow.
So
So
a lot going on.
that is a lot going on. So
Yeah.
how did Josefina come to be? How did it start? I know it was a script that your husband was writing or a story. How did it
Yeah.
become on screen?
So so it started from his experience when he was 16. He went to a gentleman's club with some of his cousins and ditched school and decided to go do something fun. So for our culture, Polynesian culture, it's kind of taboo to do anything outside of the ordinary, like anything that will ruin the family name. You don't really see that. And so when they got to the club and they seen this dancer, she was Samoan. So of course that, brought some attention to her. She noticed the boys and she came down and shared her story about why she got into it and how she got into it. So the script and the movie was inspired by her life. So it was inspired by it, but there was other stuff that was added to it to make it enough for a feature film. Yeah.
Wow. And so did everyone contribute to the dialogue or the actual script?
Yeah. So the boys, they put some of their pieces into it too. Um, it was inspired by this event that happened in my husband's life, but they came together and the boys wrote about, they added to it just to make it more interesting. And I didn't add to it. I just directed it. So I didn't come in till later. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Just because of,
Really?
yeah, well, because it's my husband, it's his story. And so, for any wife, I'm pretty sure it would have been like, I'm cool. I don't want to be a part of it. It has to do with the stripper and my husband. So, but I've
So
seen him
who's this
struggle.
team? Who's this? You keep saying
Oh,
team. Who's
yeah, yeah. There's four of us on the team. So there's myself, my husband Manu, his cousin Lee, and his brother Lenny. There's four of us on the team. Yeah, part of ManuScript. But yeah, we all struggled together, the four of us. Being a part of this company is not the easiest thing. You don't see a lot of Polynesians doing it. And if you do, it's very safe to do like comedy and stuff like that, which is fine. But we've all been through so much in our lives that, we wanted to kind of talk about things that happen in our culture that aren't really, that happen but aren't spoken about openly. And we knew that we would get backlash from doing that, and not just speaking about the film, but speaking about mental health
Mhm.
on social media. I've gotten some hate for that too, but it's like, when are we going to start talking about things that really do happen in our lives? You know, why do we have to close our mouths
Why do you
to
think
protect?
people are giving you backlash about it? What is the
Because
major you know?
it's just stuff that, from what I know, for the messages that I've gotten, private messages, it's we're making our people look bad. We're happy people. We're supposed to be known as a happy, loving people, which we are. I'm not taking that away from our people. But at the same time, there's real issues that we go through and that happen in our lives that aren't spoken about. And for me, the biggest thing is depression and suicide.
Mhm.
And I think, just speaking from experience, I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not, it's all from my experience and things that I've been through in my personal life. It's, for me, the reason why depression and suicide was so big in my life is because things weren't talked about when I was younger. So a lot of things that I went through, I felt like I was alone in it because things were so hush. And I didn't, like, how would you even start that conversation? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. We didn't have Google back in the days, you know what I mean? So I couldn't just research to see what the problem was. And these are just feelings that I had. I had no outlet. And so I think that's a problem with kind of like our people today. It's the same thing. We need to share our stories so that especially the younger generation can learn from it. You know what I mean? Like, so they can not only learn from our mistakes, but kind of feel like, okay, they went through this. It's normal that I'm going through this too. And now, not only that, it's like, now I know who I can talk to. Now I know they have Google and stuff now, but like, I think it's easier when you have somebody to open up to. And since I've been opening up on social media about my depression and suicide ideations and attempts, I've had so many messages from people like, I didn't know you went through that. This is what I'm experiencing now. Had
Mhm.
I not have gone through any of the things that I went through, there's no way I'd be able to relate or help these people that are going through it right now. So a lot of people are like, I'm sorry that you went through it. But for me, I'm not sorry. I'm
Well,
not.
yeah, I'm also suicide attempt, like a survivor, and my story, the gift of a failed suicide attempt. And I'm sure
Mm,
this is what your whole journey, that there is a gift in it, and it's
yeah.
sharing and letting people know that it shouldn't be a hushed thing because it's
Right.
I think just society in general, right? You don't talk about uncomfortable
Hmm.
topics. You don't want to shame the family or make people look at you as, I mean, what is it? It's normal to feel that way. So what do you
Yeah.
think is what do you tell people who are struggling? What do you think someone needs to hear as they question whether, life is worth continuing?
Oh, for me, the one thing that I wanted to hear, but I didn't hear, because we lived a busy life growing up. And the reason why I had a hard time even sharing my stories because I didn't want my parents to feel bad.
Hmm.
My parents did the best they could with what they knew and how they knew to raise us. Um, but for me, I wish I was told that I was enough. I wish I was told that I'm worthy and that I was loved. I think with our busy lives, we didn't get that enough. And the one thing that when I talk to people, that's like the one thing that they want to hear is that they're enough, that they're good enough, that you know, they're enough as a mother, they're enough as a wife, as, you know what I mean, as a person, that they're being seen and heard. That was everything that I felt like I didn't get. Was I didn't feel like I was enough. I didn't feel like I was being seen or heard. And even with my depression and acting out as a teenager, because I was pretty bad. I was really, really bad. um, but I felt like all those attempts and all those me crying out for attention from my parents and just from people. I wasn't being seen or heard. Like people weren't seeing that I needed that I needed the love. I think they just thought because we lived a good life. I'm not saying that we lived a bad life, but because we were Polynesian entertainers, we were traveling a lot, that were good, that were solid, but little did they know that I was suffering inside. And it started from when I was a kid. Hopefully I can say this.
Definitely. Anything
uh,
goes.
so when I was a kid, I was molested a few times by male and female, and that was so confusing to me. And so from that, I kind of went through my elementary years. Like, I don't think I was bad just yet, but when I realized what was happening, then starting from the sixth grade, I started sniffing white powder. I won't say which drug. I started sniffing drugs, and that went all the way until college. And I started drinking right after that, and I was just very angry. I lashed out at everybody and anybody. I couldn't get enough love and attention from people. Like, didn't matter how much they tried to give it to me. In my head, it wasn't enough. I didn't feel like it was sincere. Um, so I would just be angry and fight with everybody. And it wasn't until high school where I kept getting suspended and in trouble and fighting teachers and stuff like that. Then the school finally ordered for me to go to anger management. And still at this time, my parents still didn't know what was going on. They didn't know that I was molested. They just thought I was a bad kid. So um, went to anger management, and these people that were supposed to make me feel safe exposed me to my parents. Everything that I told them, they would ask me questions, and I would answer them honestly because I wanted the help. That was me, like accepting the help that I wanted, and I finally got, and I finally agreed to it, and I went and I was honest with these people, and they exposed me to my parents, which made me even more angry. And I was just
Well, because the
that's when
trust is broken, right? You're betrayed.
absolutely, yeah, betrayed 100%. And from there, of course, my parents were hurt. They were sad. They were mad. They were everything. And then I would, we'd get our butts beat. I don't know. It's different now, but we used to get whooped. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, that's when more of the suicide attempts started happening. I really couldn't see a happy ending for myself. The only escape I could see was in a casket. And so that was all I could focus on. That was all I wanted. I fantasized about my death, and it was bad. So going through everything that I went through, I think it's easier for me to relate to people when they message me, when they call
Mm-hmm.
me, when they, I had a few people tell me I was like their last resort. I'm about to do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm done. I can't do this no more. And we would just sit there and talk and talk and talk. And I would tell them everything that I wanted to hear is what I told them. And I'm so thankful that they're still here with us. So it's just that. It's like, I think the love, doing things sincerely, doing things from your heart, just full unconditional love is what people need. I just think people are so angry nowadays, and they get offended, and people are so sensitive. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think if we just love unconditionally, it would solve so many problems that we have now. Sorry, completely went off on a tangent.
No, I think this is what, especially with parents, who I work with, I think a lot of parents see their kids as naughty, or, is there hope for you because you are not doing what you like you should do, right? Go to
Right.
school, have
Hmm.
grades, and do society's norms in order to be who you're supposed to be, whatever that means.
Yeah.
So I mean, can you share to parents who might have, struggles with their kids, who like, what did I do wrong? Why can't you be normal, or why can't you do what society and we expect you to? It sounds like, I mean, you have the truth that a lot of these people are sharing.
And I think it's stop putting so much pressure on yourself as a parent. You're doing the best you can with what you know. And I think that's because that was me too. I'm not gonna lie. With one of my kids, I felt like I failed my kid. He was just always so angry and this and that. And I finally sat and listened to him. I finally sat and I heard what he was saying. I heard his heart. Um, and it's because we're so busy. I'm not saying this is the answer for everybody. I'm just saying for me, my situation, he was acting up because he wanted my attention because I was so busy with my life. I worked my 9 to 5. I went to the dance studio, and I was hardly home with the kids, and he just wanted my attention. That's him. I know other kids that I've talked to. It's they're going through things personally, but they don't know how to talk to the parents. And so for us, for me and my husband, we like to make it a safe place in our home, no matter what it is, what you're going through. If you come home, we want you to feel, or when you come home, we want you to feel safe. So whatever issues that you have, you come and tell us and be honest and open with us. And our kids are open with us. They're honest with us. Sometimes a little too honest, which is totally fine. But I'd rather them tell me instead of them suffering on their own in silence. And so if you tell your kid, because this is the one thing my parents used to tell me, just tell me I won't get mad. And then they would get mad. And that would make me so, I'm like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. If you tell me this, but then you do something else. So my advice and what I try to do with my kids, like, tell me I won't get mad. And when they do tell me, and it's like something that would, like, I should beat their butts for, but I'm like, okay, I'm just glad that you came and told me. I'm glad you felt comfortable enough. So make your home a safe place. Don't take things so hard. Like, it's not, again, it's not, we're doing the best we can as parents with what we learned from our parents and what we've studied. I'm sure every parent has Googled something like, what do I do with my bad kid? But it's your kid is probably asking for help and they don't know how. They're probably trying to reach out and they don't know how, or they've gone through something and they're scared to tell you about it and they're suffering in silence. That's what I think whenever my kids would go through things. Like, my daughter did the same thing. I saw a little change in her attitude, and she's a really good girl. I saw a change in her attitude and her mood. And when I finally talked to her, something happened and she's back to normal. But we have to recognize the signs and try to reach out. Don't wait till it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be too scared. Don't, it's my kid's gonna be kind of awkward. No, have that conversation, have that one-on-one time with them. And I understand, like, life is, it's expensive now. So everybody has to work 1 or 2 jobs just to survive, but make some time for your kids. But don't just make time, be willing to listen to them.
You think that's the most challenging part? I think sometimes parents are reluctant or hesitate to listen because they don't
Yeah.
know what to say. But do you think it really matters what we say, or just sometimes just be there?
Sometimes it's just being there. I think it just depends. I have 3, my teenagers, they're all different. Like, my oldest one, he'll just openly tell me everything. I don't have to even ask or pry or anything. He's just like, hey mom, and he'll tell me everything. My other one, I have to, like, my second child, I have to, like, pull teeth just to get him to tell me anything, but then he eventually will. It's different with each kid.
What's your secret or suggestion when kids refuse to talk or don't really want to have a conversation? Do you have tips on?
Don't push it. Yeah, don't force it. That's, again, not a licensed therapist or anything. This is it's just from my experience. Don't force it, because then it'll end up making you angry and it'll
Mm-hmm.
make the kid angry. And if they're angry, they're not going to want to talk to you. So there's no point. I would rather them talk to me when they're ready and they're willing, instead of me just prying and prying. But it doesn't stop me from asking. I still ask all the time, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you want to talk? Maybe one day he'll say yeah. But until then, I don't force it on him. I would never want to make it uncomfortable or make him feel not safe to talk to me. You know,
It
yeah.
is a lot of practicing patience and just acceptance.
Patience. Yeah. Because I'm telling you, half the time I walk away, I'm like, oh, his butt. I'm so mad at him, but I don't want to show that to them. Times are different. I think when we were growing up, this is just from me. Um, we were, we were hit. We had that kind of punishment. And this generation's like, you can't even touch them. They'll get all sensitive and cry, and they won't learn their lesson where we learned our lesson. We got spanked. Okay, we're not gonna do that again. But now it's like, it's more of a talking generation. Like, you have to talk to them and they have feelings. A lot of these kids are depressed now and they don't know how to express themselves. So, and technology is a huge thing too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a harder generation. So we have to try to approach it differently. So instead of being so angry, like, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Or we try to do more things as a family, which is kind of hard because we're so busy with film and with our regular 9 to 5 jobs that it's kind of hard to make time, but we try.
How do you hold it in? I know it's probably
Um,
the number one question, that a lot of parents like, if I am super upset, how do I mask it or not explode?
I think it's like what you said. It's learning how to be patient, because I'm telling you, out of me and my husband, I'm the one that explodes, and he's the one that has to calm me down. Like, it's okay, it's okay. I'm like, but why doesn't he want to talk? Um, but from what I've noticed is when I do explode and when I do get angry and I notice a pattern with my son. Like if he gets angry and I get angry with him, nothing ever gets resolved ever. There's no good that comes out of both of us being upset. So I let him vent, say what he needs to say, let him know it's a safe place. And I'll go in the room and be like, that's when I get my frustration out.
So it's like removing yourself and giving
I
yourself
have to.
privacy to just
Yeah.
handle it on your own, though, because I think
I
that's what
have to.
happens.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the reaction happens, and then once that explosion, I think someone said that it's an internal explosion. How interesting, like what causes
Yeah.
that internal explosion?
Oh my gosh. And it's because for me again, it's because he's not giving me the answer that I want. He's not
Yes.
giving me the reaction I want. But it's all selfish. It's me, me, me. But what about him? So that's why I try to change things and try to look at the situation different. I can't keep exploding on him because one prideful person, another, there's no way. No words will come out. Nothing will get solved like that. So I have to just let him say what he needs to say, get that out, let him know it's okay. And then I remove myself. I get mad in the room by myself, but I just as long as he knows, okay, my mom's not gonna like flip out on me, and
Hmm.
there's no good that comes out of two people being upset at all.
It takes a lot of emotional maturity, though, because when
Oh
you're
my
in it,
gosh.
actually in it, because you know, I've said all of the suggestions, and sometimes well, would you tell that to parents? What you're doing is not, and then you realize, okay, I'm just human, but then you feel like a failure because I'm telling parents one thing, but then you just know that maybe it's just human nature, or just practice
Oh
grace.
yeah,
Tell yourself, you know
I'm
what?
human. No way. There's times where I'm like, so I'm telling you this, but there's some times where I'm like, are you serious right now? Are you really serious?
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking everything away from you. Are you kidding me? So yeah, we're human. Of course, we're gonna. If anybody doesn't flip out for having that argument with their kid, you're too perfect for me. You're not. Well, we
Well,
can't be
someone said
friends.
that. I think someone, it was Sandy Davies. She's from Australia, and she said, if your child doesn't call you a bitch, then that means you're not doing a good job. I just started laughing.
That's so true. And
Or if you're not
yes.
hated, if you're not
Oh
hated,
yeah.
it one, I mean, in sometime, probably multiple times, it means that it's probably natural, right? If we look back at our teenage years, we didn't always feel like, oh, I just love my parents all the
Oh
time.
my gosh. Yeah. That would be a lie. That would be a lie.
Well,
I'm
especially when
sure.
discipline is administered, and the time you think, why? And then you become I remember my mother's from Japan, and she would say, "You wait," and it would just irritate me. You wait till you're your mom, and I'm thinking, what does that even mean? I'm never gonna be
Yeah.
like you, never.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, this is what she meant.
Oh yeah. This is my payback. Okay, I get it. I learned my lesson. Take it away now. Done.
So do you see a difference between since you have sons and daughters? Do you see, or is it just personality difference
They're
depending on?
all three of them are different. All three of them have different personalities. I'm not going to say which one, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. I have a sweet one that's never given me attitude, like the sweetest. I have a little one that does everything that I do. Um, this child, yeah, I could leave this child home alone, and this kid will take care of the entire house, the baby, her. I said her. She already. Yeah, she's my little mini me. She can literally do
Wow.
everything and take care of the baby and take care of my mom and the house, and like the house would be clean, food would be cooked. Like my little 15-year-old is amazing. So all three of them are different, and the baby is just crazy. He does what he wants.
So don't you think it's just that personality that you're born with? I've been studying different personalities, and you take those tests, and sometimes you're like a challenger, sometimes you're a peacemaker, and then when you realize if everyone has different personalities, you will clash, and it doesn't mean that you're more
Yeah.
difficult. But I remember someone said that there's no favorites, and then it was a show, and they said, who's the favorite? Unfortunately, the one that's the most easiest, the one that doesn't, push buttons, and you think, wow, it's kind of.
Yeah. You can have me exposing right now. My kids
And
are
I
gonna
think
hate
every
me
mother
after.
saw that because I'm an only child. I'm like, I'm never going to have favorites. And then everyone that I talk to who has siblings, they're like, oh no, I know who's the favorite.
Oh yeah, my kids know that too. They're like, I know who the favorite is. I'm like, yeah, it's the baby.
Well, this is so
Yeah.
much fun. Thank you so much. To close, what would be like a motto that you follow, or when times are really challenging, what is something that comforts you? Like if you can't lean on support, maybe something that you either tell yourself or it just gives you peace.
So that quote that I love is my favorite. When you see me, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. So times where I feel like it's too hard for me, I can't do it, or what did I get myself into? Like this is too much for me to handle. I think of that because I think about every person that has passed already, that's with me. So when I'm doing a job, when I feel like it's too much for me, or even as a mother, being a parent, I think of all the women that are with me, my ancestors that are helping me raise my kids, that are helping me, giving me strength. Because there's some times where I feel like I can't do this anymore, and I get that little surge of energy. I'm like, where did that come from? I know it's from my ancestors helping me and guiding me. So it goes for anything. When I do my job, I speak. So when I speak, when I do social media, when I do interviews, I'm not only speaking for myself, I'm speaking for those that don't have a voice, that are, that are voiceless or felt like they couldn't be seen or heard. I'm speaking for them. But I'm also knowing that I also know that all my ancestors are standing with me to support me and push me.
I love that. Yeah, my mom recently passed in 2021, and I feel her,
Mm,
but I love how you said that it's not just her. When I envision all of the relatives
yeah.
that I've never even met, ancestors, and I truly believe that. Is that
Yeah.
something that you've always believed, or how do you
No,
do that?
it's crazy. I don't know how much time I have, but
No, please
I
share it
always
because this is so enlightening.
so I've always had this thing. My family is very connected to the spirit world. We have this gift where we can see them, feel them. Not all of us have the same gift, but for me, I always felt them with me. I've always felt like in an empty room that it was never empty. It was full of people. I would always see things. Things would be thrown. Like people would just make themselves known around me, and I was never scared. Um, because I grew up with that. So I grew up with seeing spirits all the time. So it was something that I was used to. But it wasn't until a few years ago where I was just like, enough's enough. Like there's somebody that comes in my room at the same time every night, just peeks in and leaves. I don't feel scared, but I wanted answers as to who this person is. And so I called, she's an angel reader. Her name is Michelle Powers. I called her and just to get some answers. And before I can even speak, she's like, "Let me tell you what I know about you." And so she told me my connection to the spirit world, and she told me you have a lot of people with you all the time, and they're all women. And so of course I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. And she was like, "You have women that are with you, and they're only women, a long line of your family that's with you, and it's because of what I do. So I speak on my truths. I speak about depression. I speak my mind. I say how I feel, but respectfully.
Mhm.
And the women that are with me are all women that have passed without a voice. They've passed not being able to speak up from themselves, whether it was a bad relationship or in life, bullied or whatever it is. And so they're all with me to learn from me, and they're all with me, encouraging me to keep going because it's something that they couldn't do. And so I mentioned to her, there's one person that always comes into my room at night. Who is that? And she mentioned who it was. And she mentioned that this woman, that's not even my family member, she's not my blood family member, but she's connected to me through another family member or through somebody, yeah, through a family member. Um, she is with me because she's helping me raise my kids. She's with me um, to also show me that she supports what I'm doing. And it's crazy. So I've been connected to the spirit world, and that's what I remember. I remember every time I speak, whenever I do interviews or speaking engagements or anything, if I go to meetings or if I do film and direct, I remember that I'm not just representing myself. I'm representing all these women that are with me that weren't able to speak up and weren't able to live out their dreams because they were being silenced by fear. That's who I speak up for. So it's very personal to me. And that's why I speak up, and I get hate for speaking up, but that's fine with
But
me.
I think it's you were meant to do this. And people, because when you think about all the people in the past who've spoken up and they received backlash, but they
Mm,
continued because don't you think it's like your purpose and you're helping
right,
so many. And
right.
that to me is, I mean, just to Wow, just to know that you're helping people who have passed. You know, a lot of times you hear about, I'm helping the girls of today, I'm helping people in the future, but just knowing that is because I really believe in like signs. Someone just gave me a book about signs that, past loved ones will leave you, or how to communicate with the spirit world. And that is amazing that that's one of your, I think that's one of your purposes in life is to
Right.
when you said the voiceless, I thought you meant like the people who are voiceless today who are living. But this is a whole different population of people who must be so proud and just feel, like you said, they're feeling heard and they're
Yeah.
feeling loved and they're not even existing, but their spirit. I'm sure it brings so much comfort to those
I'm
who.
hoping, because I know that I guess it just depends on what you believe in. And but for myself, it's after we pass, I know that we still learn. This is just
Yes.
my personal opinion and my religion, is we're still on the other side, but we're still learning and growing. So that I know that when I'm working and when I'm doing what I'm doing and saying what I'm saying, I'm helping the people beyond the veil heal from what they've gone through and heal their hurt or their spirits. And so, of course, I speak for the people today can learn and grow from my experience and my what I've been through. Um, but I think we forget about the ones that have passed,
Hmm.
and these are the women that I know are taking care of me from the other side. So of course I want to be there for them too and help them and I feel it. I think had this been any other time, I probably would have been too weak to continue sharing my story after getting the backlash and people telling me certain things and like I'm just doing this for attention and questioning if I really did go through these experiences. I probably would have I probably would have stopped, but I feel that strength and the energy coming from the other side that's pushing me. So that's the reason why I keep going. It's more than, this is my purpose, this is my why as to why I'm doing things. Those haters can find your own purpose, find your own why.
Well, there will always
Stop
be
focusing on
haters,
me.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, they'll always be there. But this is what makes you, I think, even more true to your purpose, that you know that this is
Yeah.
what you're meant to do. So please continue. I'm so excited
Thank
to
you.
see future productions. I think you've definitely found your just your purpose, and your journey is just
Thank
so
you.
needed by so many of us. I think it's global. When you talk about depression and suicide attempts and just feeling hopeless, it's becoming a global, that's the global
Yeah.
pandemic that we're facing, because people don't know how to handle their emotions, and don't know how to maybe
Yeah.
speak about uncomfortable topics. So thank you. I know you're so busy, so I truly appreciate you giving me this time, and let's keep in touch.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.